How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Smokin' Android. Thank you very much for tuning back in. I am your host, Jared, and today we're going to be taking a first look, at least our first look, at the HTC One V, which is the mid-range phone in the lineup of the HTC One series. Now, you know, I've only had about 24 hours, so again, this is a first look, and, you know, we'll be doing another full review later on in about a week or so, just kind of, you know, spend some time with it to really get the feel. But, you know, when I first booted up the phone, the first thing I thought was, holy smokes, that phone booted up fast. If I was to turn it off right now and turn it back and try and reboot it for you, it probably took about less than 10 seconds, which actually blew my wife's mind last night. I've actually been letting my wife play with this, but I actually had to keep the phone today so I could do this first look video for you guys. But anyways, so the phone boots up really fast. Now I'm assuming it's probably due to the lack of features and other stuff that you know, the X and the S have, the 1X and the 1S have, but you know, it's still feature packed, and but there's a few things I don't like about it, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But let's take a look at what's going on here on the lock screen. You'll notice right away that of course we've got HTC's new sort of signature lock screen there, and it's really smooth. And you'll notice, which you'll find in a lot of custom ROMs these days, and it's really nice to see HTC, I don't know if any other manufacturer is doing this at the moment, but it's really nice to see how HTC has integrated the capability to launch applications from the lock screen, such as phone, Gmail, messages, and internet. Now I haven't looked too far into the device to see if any of these applications are changeable. Again, that will probably be in the full review that you're going to want to watch, but still a really nice feature nonetheless. One thing I have noticed while playing around with the phone is that in this phone's current state, at least in the build number that's on this phone, it doesn't like to play nice with the Play Store when you're on Wi-Fi. Now, as soon as I turn off Wi-Fi, it connect, and I use the data network, it connects to Play Store right away, so that's a bit of an issue. Also, some other things that I've noticed issues with is in the camera settings. If I you know, head on down to, let's say, you know, camera options or something like that, and I started playing around with that, see how it just disappears? It literally just disappeared and crashed back to the desktop. I didn't press close or nothing, it just crashed right back to the desktop, which I thought was really strange. Now, while we're on the topic of the camera, you know, everyone's been like, oh my goodness, you know, the, oh, and see, would you look at that, I'm on camera mode right now, and it's completely black. And that doesn't make any sense, and it just crashed back to the desktop, as you can see right there on camera. Now, because this phone is new, I'm sure we can expect many updates. Well, not many updates, you know what I'm talking about there, but I'm sure we can expect some updates in the future to address a lot of these bugs. Most likely they'll be very slow going, in which case there's always your option of rooting the device and loading custom ROMs if and when they do become available. But one of the big reasons why a lot of people were going with the 1X and the 1S phones was because of the camera and the zero shutter lag speed and all that stuff. You know, a lot of that is attributed by you know, Ice Cream Sandwich. That's how it works. You know, there's a lot of applications, third-party camera apps that are able to take pictures just as quickly because you're on Ice Cream Sandwich, as long as they're optimized for it. But nevertheless, the One V also comes with the shutter burst mode and the best pick and all that good stuff that you saw on all of the full reviews on the other, you know, 1X and 1S devices. So that's a really nice feature to have on a mid-range phone, because you know, you're not going to be spending a whole lot of money, but you're still going to be getting some of those sort of premium super phone features that are out there. Now, taking a look at just some of the widgets, and at least the widget loader that comes with the One V, which I'm sure will be coming, well, it comes on the 1X and 1S, but you know, as you can see, you just long press on the screen, which I really liked, you know, just because like other AOSP feeling Ice Cream Sandwich devices, you know, you have to go through the app drawer and look for your widget there, as opposed to just long pressing on the screen, which to me just makes sense. I don't really know why they've taken that option out of a lot of you know, Android devices, or in terms of ice cream sandwich, but I really just like being able to press and hold on the screen and then having the widgets pop up. So you got your widgets there. These are the home screens that you would select from and where you want to have the widgets placed. You know, so I'll select that one there, and then you know, here's all the widgets that you have to choose from. Now what's cool is that you also have the ability to select applications to throw on there. Here's your list of applications and your shortcuts to throw on there as well. So I really like the sort of home screen customization, you know, by long pressing on it. I really like that sort of method. It kind of consolidates everything as opposed to going into your application menu and, you know, scrolling all the way over to the widgets and blah 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 blah. Then, you know, long pressing on the widget or application, dragging it to the specific home screen of your choice. You know, all the home screens are right up there, so that is really convenient. Now let's look in the app menu itself. As you can see, it does come preloaded, of course, with you know, some carrier apps. In the case of Bell Mobility, we have TV and radio. I believe Top Android Games is something from Bell. Tunes and Apps. What else? Simpatico is Bell Mobility bloatware. But then let's take a look at some of the applications it comes preloaded with in terms of you know, what HTC is loaded on it. So obviously you've got Block Breaker 3. We've got their World Clock. This is HTC's version of of a personal assistant. So you know, if I was to say something like play music. Holy smokes. So I don't really like the application personally, just because the person's voice, she sounds normal, but then the responding voice is something like this. Play music. Like, what? What was that? You know, I mean, one second you've got someone talking to you like they sound like a real person, and the next second it's a robot talking to you. So I'm really unimpressed with the Cyberon voice. That is pretty ridiculous. Alright, so of course, and we've got Friend Stream that comes preloaded. You've got Personalize. Now jumping into Personalize, pretty cool. Now everybody knows HTC has done and always has done a fantastic job of allowing the user to really personalize and customize their device. In fact, I think they were the first company that allowed as many personalization / customization options on Android devices. They were the first, I think, which came out on the HTC Hero series of phones. Really nice to see that they're kind of still keeping with this. As you can see, we can select from scene. And at the moment, there's 2 scenes that are preloaded on the phone for you to choose from. You can always click on Get More at the top right-hand corner there, and it'll bring up some other scenes for you to choose from. And if you want to kind of find out, you know, this one's Stay Organized, this one's Memories, but you don't really know exactly what the differences are, you can click on Details there, and it'll load up sort of a small description. Now, some descriptions are quite vague, and then some sort of give you a brief idea of what will actually happen. I don't really like the layout of it. You know, I do wish that they gave you much more of a description, let you know like the why they put placements. I don't know. Anyways, that's just personal preference. So we'll go back there and get back again, and then of course now we've got skins as well, which I just discovered. I thought that was really neat. So it comes with a couple of skins preloaded. So this is the one that we're currently on, the HTC skin, and we can move over to Aluminum and to Serene. And like the other way with scenes, you can download skins as well. And there's only a certain amount of them. I found it kind of interesting that since these are obviously not user-built skins, these are obviously HTC-built skins, you know, why wouldn't they have just preloaded them onto the device to begin with? It doesn't make any sense to me. Nevertheless, alright, now let's go ahead and get into settings here. Alright, so, you know, like all devices, you can have all the basic settings. You know, you got your network connectivity, you got your personalization, phone with display and all that stuff, but we'll start taking a look a little more in depth. So we'll go ahead and click on More in wireless and networks. And what I like is that they give you the usage right there of your mobile data. You can select, you know, different sort of customize the look and to find out how much each app's using and so on and so forth. Of course, you've got your VPN menu there. You've got portable hotspot and tethering, Wi-Fi Direct and Wi-Fi Direct settings. Wi-Fi Direct, if many of you don't know, or if some of you don't know what it is, it's basically if you have two devices running on the same network, basically the same Wi-Fi network. So if, for instance, my wife's downstairs and I want to send her an APK file or a photo or something like that, as opposed to using my data connection or anything like that, or whatever situation you're in, you can both sync up to the Wi-Fi Direct, and I'll be able to transfer my file from my phone to hers at whatever speeds I'm capable of doing with my home network and all that good stuff. So it's actually a really neat option. I've never really used it before, but I think it's just a fantastic idea. I just haven't ever come across a situation where I needed something like that. So that's that. So anyways, getting back, and then of course we've got personalize, and you've already seen that. We can go down to, let's say, display. And you've got a bunch of cool stuff in here. Font size, of course, we can go all the way up to extra large, which was a really nice feature. Most stock ROMs only come with the large font size. Brightness, it wasn't really too impressive. If I was to turn off automatic brightness, the dimmest setting is really acceptable in my eyes. At night, this would be perfect for my eyes. Usually most custom ROMs and other stock ROMs, their dimmest setting is actually still a little too bright for me in the middle of the night if I receive an email and it wakes me up or whatever. And then looking at their brightest setting, it is really bright, but I'm trying to consider, and I can't wait until I get this outside and I can start testing out, the brightness setting, or the highest brightness setting in direct sunlight. So just looking at this right now, I'm thinking my initial thought would be this probably doesn't do too well in direct sunlight. So just kind of something to keep in mind there. You got sleep and notification flash, so you can select what notifications will enable the little physical LED to flash. I know this is asking a lot from HTC, but it would have been nice to see the ability to change colors, because they always just put in either red or green. Red for if your battery's dying and green for notifications, right? But everybody knows that these LED lights are capable of more colors, and I don't understand why they don't just put the option in there to change the colors, considering it's HTC and they kind of paved the way for Android stock ROM customization. So I was a little disappointed to see that. And of course you've got G-sensor calibration down there at the bottom. One thing that I did like to see was their power settings sort of thing there. I know that there isn't a whole lot to it, but it's just nice to have sort of the ability to be able to see what what's using your device and stuff like that. I know in previous devices, manufacturers have actually removed the battery history out from there, but anyways. Now one thing I am a little confused with, keeping in mind this is a demo unit, and I haven't had a chance to play with any of the other HTC One Series devices, but developer options is something that I've actually been seeing in a lot of ice cream sandwich custom ROMs like CyanogenMod 9, MIUI, AOKP, and so on. And I was a little kind of confused because, if a normal consumer was to buy this phone and they get into developer options, first of all, nobody's a developer that's going to be buying this from the phone. Well, you know what I mean. You're going in, you're signing a 3-year contract, 2-year contract to get a new phone, and then you come into here and you see developer options. They're thinking, what the heck is this about? From a consumer standpoint, developer options is really strange to have in there. The ability, somebody that didn't know, like my wife, she'd come in here looking at forced GPU rendering. She'd have absolutely no idea what that is. So I don't know why they put that in here. This might be a developer phone that they sent to my media contact that sent me this phone. I'm not too sure, but either way, it's there. I found it strange, and I don't think it should be there. But anyways, guys, that is it for our sort of first look. We're going to have some, like I said, another full review of this device, call quality, multitasking, how much lag there is. I'm going to give you a little hint right now. There's a fair amount of lag on this device, and all that good stuff. So stay tuned and stay subscribed, and share this video on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus to help the channel. That'd be much appreciated. And until next time, guys, the Smokin' Android signing out.